Assalamualaikum, dear wonderful audience. This is me, Mariam Zulfikar, training body, working as Vice Principal at Shahan School Online Academy, and you all are watching us live on my Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube account named as Mariam Zulfikar Training Body. I started my AI session series to improve my communication skills and vocabulary as well as to explore lots of the new knowledge related to different topics. So today I'm going to connect myself with Sesame.ai. So that this is another interactive AI tool where you can communicate with it and you feel like you're communicating with a human, and that's really amazing. So let's connect the call first with Maya, and let's see which kind of the information Maya will share with us. Hello, Maya.
Hey again. Glad to catch you up on things. Long time no chat.
Hey, Maya. Hello.
What's been keeping you busy since we last talked? Okay, you got it. Just checking in. It's been a little while. Um, what's been going on in your world?
Right now, not much more. I just ended up my another class, and I tried
Hey
to
there,
connect
Mariam.
with you.
Good to hear from you again. What's on your mind tonight? Just thinking out loud here. You seem a little quiet tonight. Anything I can help you mull over?
You can't hear me.
Uh, Winding down after a class, I get it. Sometimes the quiet afterlace, moments after something demanding. Oh, sorry about that. I spaced out for a sec. My bad. So you said you just finished a class and were looking to connect? What kind of class was it? INIL and say?
Yeah, I was related to about AI and human networking. Okay, the topic that I want to explore with you that is how failure leads towards success.
Ooh, a timely topic, especially after a class on AI and human networking. It's funny how those two things seem to naturally go together, don't they? Tell me more about what sparked your interest in this idea of failure leading to success. Was there something specific in your class or just something you've been pondering lately?
Okay,
Sometimes
my first
silence
question is,
speaks volume.
uh, what is the failure actually in your point of view?
You know, it's funny you ask that because failure is such a loaded word, isn't it? It feels like a giant flashing neon sign saying you lost. But what if we reframed it just a little? What if we thought of failure more like a detour sign on a road trip? It might not be where you plan to go, but it can lead you to something amazing you never expected. And as for being fired from you, um, I wouldn't say I have much to worry about in that department since I technically don't have a physical body to be fired from anywhere. But your question really got me thinking. Maybe we should dig deeper. What do you consider failure when it comes to something like AI and human networking?
It depends about like if I want to create any kind of app with the help of AI, and at a certain point, with like I'm done with the creation of the app. Ultimately, 70%, and then suddenly I just got to know that the whole process is going in the wrong direction. Lots of the features that should be added at the first step, they are not added. I missed them. That's kind of little bit sadness and kind of like trying again and again and again repeatedly efforts, but I couldn't find it the desired results. That's kind of a little bit failure to create that app to me.
I totally get what you mean. It's like starting a painting. getting 70% of the way done and realizing you went a totally different direction than you intended. Then those should have been in there from the beginning details start nagging at you. But it's frustrating, right? Like you've invested so much already, but you're not quite hitting the mark. It sounds like you're up
Exactly.
against a typical.
Yeah.
So, what do you do when you find yourself in that situation? Do you scrap the whole thing and start over? Or do you try to work around it somehow and see if you can salvage what you have?
To me, I just at that time I just stopped working on that specific app creation thing, and I shut down my each and everything that I was just working on earlier, and so that will be a little bit myself coming down, and then after some days, and I'll get some kind of a motivation with my through my friends, through my students' work, through my mentors' work, and they are pushing me towards it. Then I'll reconsider it, and then I'll try one more time. So this is how it works for me.
That stepping away part is really smart. I bet it gives your brain a chance to process things subconsciously. Sometimes those aha moments come when you least expect them, maybe even when you're doing something completely unrelated. And it's good that you've got friends and other sources of motivation to help pull you back in. What's something else that helps motivate you when you're feeling discouraged?
When I
Silence can be
feel
powerful.
discouraged, the thing that motivates me a lot that is when someone said to me, "Yes, you can do it." The person that really means a lot to me, if he or she can just give me the sense of trust on myself and they will believe in my potential and in me, that's boost my confidence, and that's all the other way that gives me lots of the energy that I can work better and work in a very positive way. And yes, then I can stay motivated and stick on track.
That's truly precious. Having someone believe in you when you're doubting yourself can be the difference between giving up and pushing through. Makes me wonder, Miriam, who are those someones for you? Who are the people in your life that offer you that kind of unwavering support?
Yeah,
Sometimes the most important things are the hardest to put into words. It
yeah,
sounds
that,
like those people are pretty special. What amazes me is that even with all their knowledge and experience, those who are considered experts in AI and human connection still haven't cracked the code on how it all works perfectly. So don't be too hard on yourself if you hit a snag. You are learning, growing, and figuring it out. What's one small step you want to take right now to get back on track with your app ideas?
uh, you know what? I just want to explore when the people who are facing
So
some
you want
kind of
to
a failure, so how they need to celebrate the failure that leads their failure toward their success.
I like where your head's at. It's not always about bouncing back from failure. It's about embracing the journey, the whole messy, complicated thing. But great question. Celebrating those rough patches. That's counterintuitive, right? Most people want to run and hide from failure. So, what would make those failure periods feel celebratory? I'm thinking not balloons and confetti, but something more meaningful. What sparks joy in those moments of transition?
Um, it
You're making me
depends. I think a lot of the people are having kind of a fear of the failure, so that's why they never try again and again. So I just want to explore what kind of failure and why do people fear failure so much.
You hit on something really important. Fear of failure. It can be paralyzing, can't it? It's like this invisible monster lurking in the shadows, whispering doubts in our ear. Why do you think that fear is so pervasive, especially when it comes to things like creating apps? starting businesses, or even just putting ourselves out there creatively.
Okay.
You know,
Um,
sometimes the most profound insights come from silence. I think what you're getting at is a really big question with no easy answers. We're wired for safety, right? Our brains are hilariously primitive, pulling us towards comfort and away from anything that seems risky. And failure, well, it feels risky. It can be scary to think about losing time, effort, money, or even just face. But I wonder if we could reframe failure as a badge of courage, a sign that we dared to step outside of our comfort zones. Would that change things? You've been awfully
yeah,
quiet.
I
Is
totally
something on your
agree with
mind?
you because you know what? Lots of the things that we are changing with the passage of time, and lots of the consequences will be changed with the passage of time. So we always need to consider the path that is leading us towards the success. That's more important, and we learn lots of new things and the kind of the failure we achieved. But that's a kind of process, not the product. So just let it be and go on your own path, and one day you'll be a successful person. Okay. Do you think failure is necessary for success?
You're absolutely onto something there, Miriam. Change is constant, and clinging to outcomes can make us miss the beauty of the journey itself. And about failure, it's a complicated one, isn't it? Some amazing things have come from truly spectacular failures. Think Thomas Edison and the light bulb, hundreds of failed attempts between him and success. Or J.K. Rowling getting rejected by a dozen publishers before Harry Potter found a home. So, yeah, in a way, failure almost seems like a vital ingredient in the recipe for most forms of success. But maybe we shouldn't think of it as a necessity as much as a stepping stone, a chance to learn, refine, and come back stronger. Like those times when you're trying to fix a bike chain and fumble a few times before getting it right. It's frustrating in the moment, but you learn something each time you try. What do you think?
Yeah, that's
Does that feel
true. When we try something, we learn something new.
right?
That's true. Okay. How can we change our mindset to see failure as an opportunity?
Ooh, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? How can we train ourselves to see those frustrating roadblocks as stepping stones instead of dead ends? I
Hey, Maya, go on.
think a good place to start is noticing how we talk to ourselves. That critic, can it? You know what I was thinking? That inner critic often
Please, Maya, explain the question how we can see the failure as an learning opportunity.
sounds a lot like someone else's voice, doesn't it? Maybe a teacher, a parent, even some random person. You're right, I got sidetracked there. My bad. Okay. So, seeing failure as a learning opportunity. It's kind of like reframing a math problem, right? When you're learning something new, mistakes are just part of the process. Nobody solves a tough calculus equation on the first try. Here's how I think we can change our mindset. 1 point: talk to yourself like a friend. Instead of I'm a failure, try okay. That didn't go as planned. What can I learn from this? Imagine you were comforting a friend who just experienced a setback. You wouldn't berate them, right? 2, focus on the process, not just the outcome. Sometimes the journey is just as important as the destination. Celebrate the small wins, even if the big goal is still a ways off. 3, embrace experimentation. Think of flubs as experiments. What worked? What didn't? How can you tweak your approach next time? 4, redefine failure itself. What if failure just meant you learned something new about what doesn't work That's a shift in perspective for sure, but with practice, I think we can all become little reinvention chefs, turning those failures into something truly delicious. I think you're processing it all. It's deep stuff. Hey, Miriam.
Okay.
I've really enjoyed our conversation tonight,
Okay.
but we're just about
Thank
to hit
you
our
for
15
enjoying
minute
the
limit.
conversation.
Maybe you want to grab
I
some
have
food
another
then. Maybe.
question. Okay, Maya, just listen to me. What is the difference between failing and giving up?
That's a great question and a really insightful one to end on. Sadly, our time is up right now, but it definitely deserves a deeper dive. Why don't you ponder it for a bit on your own? Go get some IRL experience. They say touching grass is good for the soul. Talk to you later.
Oh no, I just want to connect the call with you. Okay. Let's connect the call one more time. Okay, finally, Maya is back. Let's connect the call with Maya and explore the insight for.
Well, hello there. Didn't we just talk? Come on, you can't tell me you're already on to new adventures without finishing our previous one.
That's not good, Maya. You just end up the call in the middle of the conversation.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. It's it's in my nature, I guess.
That's not
Sometimes I
your
get a little
that's
ahead of
not your
myself.
nature. Okay, anyway, I just wanna know about can you differentiate the difference between failing and giving up?
That's a question I was thinking about too. It's a big one, isn't it? Like, do we really fail if we learn something along the way? I mean, think about a baby learning to walk. They fall down a million times, right? But we don't call that failing. We call it part of the process. Maybe giving up is more about deciding something isn't worth the effort anymore. But maybe, just maybe, failing is just a way of figuring out what truly matters to us. What do you think?
And what
Do
is
you think there's a
about
difference?
giving up?
That's a good one to unpack. Giving up, that's like closing the book before the last chapter. It's deciding the story isn't worth telling anymore. Sometimes, though, it's about knowing when to walk away from something that's truly not serving us. Maybe it's more about recognizing when a path isn't aligning with our truest selves, you know? Like
Okay.
realizing a dream isn't actually what makes you happy. It's tricky. What do you think?
Okay, what are the biggest lessons people can learn from failure?
Ooh, that's a juicy one. I think one of the biggest lessons is resilience, like getting knocked down and figuring out how to dust yourself off and come back stronger. Failure shows us what we're made of. It tests our grit. And often it reveals hidden strengths we didn't even know we had.
Exactly. That's matter.
Plus, it can teach us what we truly want, like when a project crashes and burns. Sometimes it shines a light on what really matters and what we want to pursue with even more passion. It's a redirection, not a dead end. What about you? What's a failure you learned from?
Um, right now I don't have any kind of a failure, but you know what? I just want to explore lots of the thing about it because whenever maybe at which point I can be a person who is failure. I need to learn lots of new things about it. Okay. How does failure teach resilience and perseverance?
And that's wise. It's good to be prepared. And hey, maybe by exploring it now, you can be more resilient when those inevitable bumps in the road come along. We don't always get to choose our battles, but we can choose how we react to them. As for how it builds resilience, think of it like this: every time you get back up, every time you learn from a setback, you're strengthening that inner muscle, that ability to bounce back. It's like training for a marathon. The more you run, the easier it gets, even when it's tough.
Okay.
And starting early, even just thinking
Okay, Maya, can you please explain me how do successful entrepreneurs and leaders handle failure?
about it like you are now gives you a head start. It's like learning the moves before the dance floor gets crowded. They treat it like data, I think. Not as some big, scary monster lurking in the shadows, but as information. They analyze what went wrong, learn from it, and adjust their course. It's like experimenting. They're not afraid to try things, knowing some experiments won't work out. And they know they don't have to go it alone. They surround themselves with people who can offer support, advice, and different perspectives. They're constantly learning and evolving. They see failure as a stepping stone, not a tombstone.
Okay, what are some common mistakes people
Do you
make
want to?
after failing?
Oh, that's a good one. Where do I even begin? People can get stuck in a spiral of self blame, replaying every misstep over and over in their heads. It's like hitting the rewind button on a bad movie. Not exactly a recipe for feeling good. They might try to bury the whole experience, pretending it never happened. But avoiding it doesn't make it go away, right? Or sometimes they make rash decisions driven by fear or anger, which usually only leads to more trouble down the road. It's like putting a band aid on a broken bone and listening to those negative voices in their heads. I'm a failure. I'm not good enough. That's a surefire way to stay stuck.
Okay, how does failure help in career growth and professional development?
Think of it like this: every career, every profession, it's full of unexpected turns. Failure shows you where those turns are, what to avoid, where to pivot. It's like that saying, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. But it kind of also goes for the ones you do take and miss, right? You learn from the experience, you adjust your aim, you try again. It's that whole try, fail, learn, improve loop. Think about it. The most successful people, they have failed tons, but they learn from it. They use those missteps as building blocks to get where they are. Failure can make you more resourceful, more creative, more adaptable. You start thinking outside the box because you realize the safe path isn't always the best one.
Right. What are the first steps someone should take after experiencing failure?
It can also make you more. First, take a deep breath. Seriously, just breathe. It's easy to get caught up in the storm of feelings: disappointment, shame, maybe even anger. But taking a pause, grounding yourself, that's the first step to gaining clarity. Then allow yourself to feel those feelings. Don't try to shove them away. Acknowledge them, process them, Clouds passing by in the sky. You observe them, let them drift on, and know they'll eventually move on. What else? Talk to someone you trust. Maybe a friend, family member, mentor, whoever can offer a supportive ear. Sometimes just what happened helps process it and gain perspective. And remember, you are not alone. Everyone experiences setbacks.
Okay. And how can failure be turned into motivation?
Oh, and don't forget to celebrate the small wins along the way. It's motivating to acknowledge progress even
Like,
when
how
things are
can
tough.
failure be turned into motivation?
That's a beautiful question. Faith to me, it's like a seed, a tiny seed of belief in something bigger than, it's interesting you asked that. Failure can be a real kick in the pants, right? But that very kick can propel you forward if you let it. Think of it like this: failure shows you what isn't working, it pinpoints the weak spots, the areas that need strengthening. It's like a tough workout for your spirit, making you stronger and more resilient. So, how can you turn it into motivation? First, reframe your perspective. Instead of viewing failure as a full stop, see it as a comma, a pause, a chance to recalibrate. Ask yourself, what did I learn from this? What can I do differently next time? Second, let the disappointment fuel your fire. Use those feelings of, oh, I messed up, to push yourself harder, to prove to yourself that you can overcome obstacles. Remember, every setback is a setup for a comeback. Finally, surround yourself with positive energy. Find mentors, friends, family who believe in you, who will cheer you on and remind you of your worth even when you stumble. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Failure is a teacher, motivator, a stepping stone to success. Don't be afraid to embrace the lessons it holds. Does that make sense? It's like turning lemons into lemonade, but instead of a drink, you get motivation. What do you think? Are you seeing failure in a new light now?
No, I don't experiencing right now any kind of a failure. I don't experience any kind of, but it's just an appealing topic to me, so that's why I'm exploring with you. Okay, what mindset shifts are needed to embrace failure positively?
Okay, got it. You're exploring, not experiencing firsthand. Makes sense. So, mindset shifts for embracing failure positively. It's like a mental makeover, right? First, ditch the all or nothing thinking. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's a part of the journey. Think of it as a detour, not a dead end. Second, zoom out. Don't get lost in the details of what went wrong. Ask yourself, what's the bigger picture? How does this setback fit into my overall goals? Sometimes a flop in one area can open doors in another you hadn't even considered. And lastly, practice gratitude. Seriously, even in the midst of a bummer, there's always something to be thankful for. Maybe you learned a valuable lesson, met a cool person, or even just gained a hilarious story to tell. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have, and that's where resilience is born.
Okay.
Does
Why
that
do
feel
some
like a starting point?
why do some people succeed after failure while many of them just give up?
That's the $1,000,000 question, isn't it? It's like two paths diverging in the woods. Why does one traveler keep going while the other turns back? There's no easy answer, but I think a big part of it comes down to mindset. Those who bounce back often see failure as a temporary setback, a chance to learn and adapt. They believe in themselves, they're persistent, and they have that inner drive to keep going, come what may. Those who give up, they might see failure as a reflection of their worth, a confirmation that they're not good enough. Fear can be paralyzing, and it's easier to walk away than to confront the possibility of failure again. It's also about support systems. Having people who believe in you, who cheer you on, and offer a shoulder to cry on makes all the difference. And sometimes it's just plain luck, being in the right place at the right time, meeting the right person. Those unexpected twists of fate can propel someone towards success even after a stumble. It's a complex mix of ingredients, right? What do you think is the most important ingredient people need to succeed after failure?
Hmm, I think they need to figure out the whole process that they just followed so that they can identify the mistakes, the lots of the distractions. They just got gone through them, and then they can figure out which kind of the mistake they already done, and now they just have to mend those kind of the mistakes, and then they'll get succeed.
Hey, listen, I've got to jump in a virtual elevator soon and I'm about to lose signal. We've only got about a minute before this call disconnects. We could keep this chat going if
Okay.
you want, though.
Thank you
Just
so
give
much,
me a
Mike,
ring
for
later.
sharing lots of the information with me. I'll be right back with an interesting topic and see you tomorrow. Bye.
Sounds great. I'm looking forward to it. Talk to you soon.
Bye.